YouTube sucks. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, joined as always by
Anthony Ray Bench.
And we have a very special guest today on our show, Darius Britt, who we're actually at the Mammoth Film Festival. But I want to say, Darius, welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Cool. So we met at this festival, instantly bonded over some.
I spotted you. I was like, that's
Chris
right. Gore.
That's right. Well, yeah, I sat in the same. We saw the opening night movie, and then I just fortuitously sat in front of you, which then I felt bad. I'm sitting in front of this dude. Like what, that probably wasn't cool.
No, the way I remember it, you were getting popcorn, and I saw your reflection, and then, well, maybe I didn't say anything until later though. I don't remember when I said something, but I was like, bro, I saw you from Official Rejection, got your book, I know who you are.
It's weird, yeah. So it's fun to have that at least as an opening, as a way to meet people. But then we bonded and we've hung out at the festival. We're sort of midway between it. But what's exciting is that you told me about this project that you've worked on that you're releasing in a really interesting way. Well, first of all, you should let people know who you are. You're an accomplished YouTuber, filmmaker, short filmmaker, and whatnot. So give the 411 on your career up to now.
I'll give you the abridged version. So went to film school like most peeps, or actually a lot of peeps actually don't go to film school. I went to film school.
I did too.
You went to film school.
Yeah.
A month out of film school, I shot a feature, toured the Film Fest circuit, and I was also touring some shorts at the same time. And then around then, I started a YouTube channel to vlog my process on the film festival circuit. And then in the process of doing that, I kind of learned how the platform of YouTube worked. And so that kind of changed my direction, and I started going further into YouTube while doing my film thing. And now I'm at the point where that feature that I initially was shopping around all those years ago, I'm looking to release that on YouTube now as the platform. Yep, and I want to do a whole branding push, a whole marketing campaign behind it, and I want to just try something new.
Very cool, man.
Well, before we talk about the film, we got in this whole discussion about YouTube. I
hate YouTube.
I hate YouTube.
You hate YouTube.
I hate YouTube because I think there are a lot of people that position themselves as experts on certain things that I'd say are terrible. They're just They really don't know what they're talking about. I think there's no shortage of passion and opinions, but not a lot of real knowledge and coming from a place of facts or even a place of film history. So,
that's why if you got on YouTube, that's why you would shine, though.
But no, I think I've sort of aged out of the demographic of people that.
Bro, you look like 32. What are you talking about?
No.
I know, and I hate him for it.
You look like 32, man.
No, but it's No, I feel like because of the demographic of YouTube, I'm just sort of instantly hated, right? Because also I do get a little frustrated with people that just don't know. You're it's like I'm talking to the people that post stupid comments on Facebook, except I'm sitting next to them. So it's sometimes really hard for me to hold back. So yeah, I don't know that YouTube will ever be necessarily for me. Not that Film Threat won't do something on YouTube. I think Anthony could do a YouTube thing. Because he's got the look. I mean, I'm
a very handsome man, Chris.
No, but YouTube.
No.
No,
thanks.
I don't mean no that you're not handsome.
This motherfucker over there.
I didn't say that. I meant what I meant was you
Thanks.
have this sort of huggable whole thing.
You do have a
about
huggable quality to you.
You do have a huggable.
Yeah.
I did hug you actually.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It was a nice
you
hug.
guys barely know each other.
It was the side hug.
Yeah, man.
No, he calls me Hagrid all the time. I hate it.
Well, no, but
That's hurtful.
Yeah, that is.
All right, I'll stop. This is the last time I'll do. But you do have this sort of you're a big guy, but you're not. But you have a big heart. You know what I mean? You're not. I feel like actually, if you put on sunglasses and you stood in front of a door, no one would go in the door because they would be instantly intimidated. You have what I'm saying
Especially
is,
if you grew your beard out a little more.
Oh, dude, I'll show you pictures. I used to have a full-on mountain beard.
Wow,
Yeah.
I would have cast you in something for sure.
I'm down.
You
Actually,
have a nice look to you.
I have a little history here in Mammoth, right? And I told you a little bit of it, but I was a student at Cal State Fullerton, and I was going to graduate, and as a graduation present, I got to snowboard here for 3 weeks on the Cal State Fullerton team, and part of the thing was I'd never grown out my beard long. and I was dedicated to it. It itched. It looked terrible, but I got the mountain man thing. And I remember like I was just starting to intern with you, or I think I was a few months into it.
Okay.
And you even commented, you were like, "That's your look, dude. That's your look."
No, I did. I was, because also the thing is it's important, I think, to be memorable when people like for me, I can go incognito if I wear a hat. But as soon as I take a hat off,
it's that
It's
hair,
the
man.
silver fox, yeah.
people see this sort of spiky hair, they'll just go like, oh,
Done
well,
deal.
that's that dude.
That's that guy.
Okay, so but let's get back. So back to the YouTube thing. Like, I think actually Anthony would be way better on YouTube than I would be.
Here's the deal. Like, when people are talking about YouTube, I think everyone looks at the same thing. They're like, well, if you're going to do well on YouTube, you have to have like 1 million subscribers or something. There are a lot of people doing well on YouTube who don't hit that number because there's different ways to make money. There's different types of audiences.
Okay.
It's a sliding scale. So I think everybody just has the exact same expectation. It's like, well, if you're in film, unless you're as big as Steven Spielberg, you're a failure. It's like, well, no. I mean, there's different levels to this ish.
I got to be honest and upfront. Like my knowledge of YouTube is very limited. Like I watch YouTube probably more than television, but as far as what goes into making it and making money off of it, like my knowledge is very limited to that. But you know, I see so many YouTubers just kind of, you know,
Grinding.
Not necessarily grinding, more so now they're saying like the end is near, like our platform is dead,
They
and
were
you
saying
said
that
something.
when I first started, man.
Okay.
They're always going to be saying that.
Yeah.
They say that about the film industry. Oh, the bubble's going to pop.
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be that like doom apocalypse of an industry talk. And I mean, the platform's doing fine. It's not going anywhere.
Okay, well maybe it's just because I'm a casual. Like it kind of just.
I mean,
seems like it's happening more and more.
Well, it's like kind of what you were saying. People who don't really know what they're talking about, and they're just like
Like me,
you
yeah.
know, an alarmist about it. And I think, you know, especially when the whole adpocalypse thing came, and yeah, a lot of channels got affected, but it was a lot of the channels that were just like renegade. I'm cursing every other. I'm doing, you know, it's like it wasn't like every single channel. There was a method to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to work smarter if you want to do the AdSense thing. But there are plenty of other ways to monetize what you're doing, and I think people
like Patreon and stuff like that.
Patreon, selling stuff, consulting, affiliate marketing. There's a lot of different.
Well,
ways
I don't
to
want
do it.
to trash YouTube in general. I mean, there are like things that I love on YouTube. I like Red Letter Media.
Yeah.
I like what those guys are doing.
You got
I
me
like
into that.
Comic Book Girl 19.
Love her.
You know, she's
seen a couple of her deals.
She does like these mini documentaries about, you know, sort of runs of comic books, like her X-Men series, which are incredible. And she's monetized those by just selling them on Vimeo.
And her awesome book clubs.
Her book club, the book club thing. So she's come up with a better way. And I would not like her if she wasn't able to be herself. And that's what I really like about her, is that Comic Book Girl 19, not only does she have the knowledge, she doesn't make it all about her. I mean, sometimes she does, but it's always in a goofy way. She has a really good sense of humor about herself, but she also takes what she's talking about very seriously. But it comes from a place of knowledge. So I really respect her. I feel like she's one of the people. There's Alachia Queen. She's just this girl from Austin, Texas, who does reviews. She just does these reviews, but she really gets into granular, detailed stuff. She'll do like a 15-minute review of a trailer and tell you stuff you missed or why. So I'm not pissing on all of YouTube. I'm saying maybe the things that I like aren't as popular, although Red Letter Media tends to do pretty well. But I think that there is a mob-like nature of attacking things that people don't like, and that's
People
it's the
do that
comment
off
section.
YouTube, though. It's just
I guess
it's
you're right.
a forum where it's more apparent, but people they always do that. I mean, they've always been doing that.
Well, it's something that I've resisted just because I don't know. I feel like maybe at some point in the future we could do something. Film Threat could do a YouTube show or a way to test a certain show. There's a show that I want to do actually where I like. We should say we're in like the gifting suite or something, because this was the quietest place at the festival to like.
It's also warm in here too.
Yeah,
I like it.
A little warm.
I didn't
I
bring
think
a
it's
coat.
perfect.
Oh,
I
a
don't
little
think
warm.
it's too warm. Like
Right.
the room
Yeah.
you just did a panel in.
Yeah, it was too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was
Which
bad.
is yeah.
I
But
think if you guys did get into YouTube, I think you would do fine. But it's like anything else, you have to do your research, right? And I feel like there's a lot of things that are staring you right in the face when it comes to a platform like YouTube. I know, like, for me, when I first started, I didn't know how it worked. And like the way people are moving and how they're making videos and their strategies, it was all invisible to me because I didn't know what I was looking at, and I didn't know what I didn't know. But after just being on the platform and vlogging and doing it all wrong, literally, I mean, I got taken off Facebook practically because I was spamming.
Oh, wow.
That's a long story. And I got my comments taken away from YouTube for like 6 months because like I was literally doing it all wrong. But then after doing it for a while, then it forced me to go back to square one. But by that time, I had made enough videos on it to kind of get a sense of like, oh, you know, this is how you upload and this is how many views you can get if you're promoting off platform. And then, so I knew enough to start beginning to know what to look for.
Yeah.
At least, if that makes sense. It's like I had a foundation to then say, okay, how do I assess this channel? How are they doing what they're doing? Oh, this is how they're doing. How is this channel doing what they're doing? Oh, I see patterns. Oh, I'm going to try that. Oh, you know, success. It's kind of like
well,
that.
I mean, is there a way you could give us sort of a YouTube 101 that would kind of just like give us the basics of what we need to know if we were going to approach it? So that way we can benefit from your knowledge, the knowledge that, you know,
so
you've
YouTube
obtained. Let's
YouTube,
hear it.
YouTube is a giant search engine. It's the second biggest search engine behind Google, and Google owns YouTube. So people go on there to look for stuff. So in the most layman's term possible, one of the easiest strategies is to place yourself where people are looking. So trends are your best friend. There are different types of trends. There are short-lived trends, you know, like Lady Gaga breaks a heel or something, and those are obviously like macro giant trends. And then there are niche trends, like in filmmaking, if somebody wants to know how to set up a light, a particular type of light, and that light's new, well, that's a trend. Lots of people are probably looking that up because how many of us like to break out the manual for anything? Nobody.
Right.
So that's a trend. Or there are evergreen trends. Well, evergreen is called like evergreen content. It's always green, and that's stuff like 3-point lighting or something. Like 20 years from now, people will still be looking that up. So it's like leveraging those types of
searches,
searches, making content for that type of marketplace.
But then aren't you just sort of chasing that after a while? You're just chasing that. Although the evergreen stuff I love because I can't tell you.
It's useful, you know.
Well, I heard that that's actually the biggest category on YouTube is the how-tos, any sort of how-to. Like even though that individually those may not get the largest number of views, collectively as a category that's the largest number.
Well, when you take to go back to your question, isn't that chasing? It's like, yes, there's a strategy. If your intent is to grow an audience, then yes, you do need to create a content strategy to grow an audience. If your intent is just to do whatever the hell you want to do, then that's a different strategy, right? But when I got on there, my intent was to grow an audience, to grow a brand, and to build a community around what I do and share with others. That was my intent. And I learned very quickly, just doing a renegade, do your own thing, and like to hell with how stuff works, that's not going to get you very far. It's not, you know. Now if you embrace a strategy like, okay, I will do 9 things for them and then 1 thing for me, then it's great because you're giving value to your audience. The 9 videos you make for them is for them, and then when you make 1 for you, well, you're getting more people watching something you've done than if you had done nothing at all.
Okay, I like this strategy. What else can you tell us about what makes it successful?
Consistency, uploading, because, you know, if you think of each video as like a seed in a marketplace, well, the more seeds you have, the more opportunities people have to bump into you. And at first it may start slow, but then the more you do, it just grows like exponentially. Before it's almost like interest in a bank account. Like the more money you kind of have in there, the interest almost continues to double and double. Not a regular bank account, you know, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's like that, you know. I've seen channels grow from practically 0 to 1.5 million in a year. That's like Peter McKinnon, he's a phenom. And then I've seen channels that grow from 0 to 250. You know, part of it is the quality of your content. Part of it is the niche that you're catering to. Part of it is how consistent you are. Like if somebody's really hustling and they start off running, they're like, okay, I'm going to do videos about so much evergreen content, it's ridiculous. Like you can't go anywhere without bumping into me. Those people grow like weeds. Like just before you know it, everybody hears about them because they have a content strategy that provides growth, right? It's like the perfect discoverability strategy. So, and then there's others who they spend more time just doing, I'll do more of what I want to do, and discoverability and trending type stuff. I'll maybe only do 20% of that will be my content, but 70% will be what I want to do. So their rate of growth is not as high, but it doesn't matter if you're happy doing what you're doing, and if you have sponsorship opportunities still coming in, like sponsors, people will find you if you're catering to your niche. I mean, I've seen people get sponsors at like 2,000 subscribers, like if you're feeding a demographic that they want, that they're interested in, they don't care about how high your numbers are specifically. Not everybody has to have 1 million subscribers for sponsors to be interested in you. So,
well, the one thing that's actually turned me off of YouTube is actually, it seems like every time I turn around in the press, there's some YouTuber that did some stupid shit, and it's actually kind of embarrassing. Like I just wouldn't want to be thrown in with that.
You wouldn't be though.
Right. But I just feel like there's like so many people that either say something stupid or they, just do something stupid.
Here's the thing. It's big news to bash on YouTube with the press. Like with PewDiePie, they went in on him, but he did several videos showing how they've twisted stuff that he did around. It's like really evident that they were after him for something.
Because they're he's taking away viewers.
I think they just saw it as, there was a point where they just didn't respect YouTubers, and seeing the volume of views that some of the higher ups get, it's like, well, we're doing classical journalism, all this other stuff, and then here's this person who just says what they think and what they want, and they get like 3 times more views than we do on a regular basis. How does that work, right? So people aren't going to be happy about that. Yeah. And also PewDiePie had gone at the press quite a number of times, so he kind of made a bed with that, which I respect though, because he does make good he can't be an ass, but he does make good content when he's like getting at somebody, and he does research his stuff. So he made some enemies, and then they wanted to bury him. And it is what it is. But I think to worry about being rolled into that lump, though, it's like, if anything, that's a sign that YouTube is doing extremely well, that they would want to try to tear down any possibility, any chance they get, they would want to pull somebody down. That just shows how well they're doing, because press isn't going to talk about you if you're not on the map, right? If you're not doing something good, they're not going to sweat you because you're not news. So that's another reason why you see a lot of that.
What about production value in YouTube? Does it really matter?
It helps. It definitely helps. It depends on the type of content again. Like if you're going to be a film channel and talk about how to make films, it helps if
there's some
your video looks decent and it doesn't look like ass. But if you're going to be a personality or a commentator or something, then the presentation isn't as important. Like if you're really funny and you can hold a camera, I've seen people do well doing that. But the opposite is not true. Like if you've got all this production value, but you can't hold a camera, it's just not going to work. Like people want to watch somebody that they can go get a beer with.
I almost feel like there's even a resentment of good production value. When you see something that's like high production value, you kind of see where they put their energy. And if they put their energy into the high production value, sometimes that doesn't necessarily result in people who are well-spoken on a particular topic.
Yeah, that depends though, man. Like if you see somebody like Peter McKinnon, charisma, just part of the reason why he blew up so fast is just all of the boxes were checked.
I'm not familiar with him. What does he do?
He is a vlogger slash film photography tip. Like he gives tips on how to step up your Instagram game. He does some filmmaking tips. It's not like in the line of like narrative film. It's more videography type tips. But he merges that with vlogging and is very successful at it. But like I would beg to differ. And like the bar is continually getting higher with, the more people like myself. Before I came in, people weren't doing certain things that I was doing. Peter's come in, and now just the way he titled some of his videos have just kind of changed the way people look at it. Travel Fields is another guy. So I think in the next 10, 20 years, YouTube is going to be a very different place. Like it's not going to be those YouTubers over. No, it's going to be like legit professionals all over the place doing big stuff. I mean, it's getting there right now.
But do you think it's like that change is going too fast? Like
no, it's happening
with
organically.
Like YouTube Red and stuff. Because I
don't think it's happening too fast. Because it's like what's the reference point for fast? Like compared to what?
Right.
Well,
exactly.
I bring this up because I I was writing for another website, and they sent me on assignment to YouTube headquarters to cover an event where like a bunch of television critics showed up, and they were revealing their YouTube Red lineup. This was like early in like, you know, early in the reveal. Mm-hmm. So they were revealing like the Link and Rhett, or the Rhett and Link stuff, and just there was dead silence from the critics. Like no one knew what was going on. No one knew like what was being presented to them. Nobody knew who these people were that were getting these shows, that were getting these high production value budgets. And it just like being in the crowd, it felt like there was just a severe disconnect. And I'm saying like,
in terms of classic media and all that.
Yeah. Is YouTube rushing too fast with what they're doing? Like, should it kind of?
I don't think YouTube's rushing too fast. I just think it's going to take traditional media and all the people who are not familiar with it. It's going to take them as long as it's going to take them to catch on. But guess what? YouTube is still making gobs of money. There are tons of creators who now have careers. Like, that's not too fast for them.
Yeah,
and there are a number of companies. I mean, there are companies that have branches dedicated to contacting influencers. Big companies. DJI is one of them. I've done a lot of stuff for DJI. So I would say that shift is already here. It's just not all over the place. And that's only going to change more and more with each year. It's only going to change. So,
well, tell us about your channel. First of all, what's your channel on YouTube?
It's D for Darius. D, the number 4, and then Darius. And I give filmmaking tips, advice. I used to vlog a lot. I don't vlog as much anymore. I share like short films. Like I'll shoot something and then I'll break it down and talk about how I shot it, what I used.
So it's meta in the sense that like you're not only screening your work, you're talking about your work like as you're making your work. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
the
sounds
process
really cool.
behind it. Because there's a lot of value in that. And also, for a while, I've focused specifically on doing it with nothing because I just get tired of hearing people wait for money or wait for approval. And I've not gotten anywhere by that. Everything has been like, let's just do it. If we're going to do it, let's just do it. We'll use what we have, and we're going to make it happen. So a lot of the videos you'll find on my channel have that focus in mind. It's like how to make a film for $10, you know, how to shoot a micro budget film, you know, things in that vein, you know, like how to shoot something with no lights. Like if you don't have it, you don't have it. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, let's focus on what you do, because there's so many things you have to get good at in film. There's so many things, it's ridiculous. And even outside of film, it's like you need Photoshop. I mean, you're gonna have to make posters, you're gonna have to. So it's like, well, rather than wait around and talk about like writing scripts and just waiting to find money for it, how about you shoot scene studies? Because you still need to work with actors. You still need to learn how to work with non-actors. Shoot scene studies, shoot microfilms. I've learned way more just shooting stuff. Like even if it's a microfilm, I as a director, as a creator, learn more doing that than just waiting in between jobs of big things, you know, because you're not growing. When you stop shooting, when you're not pressing that record button, you're not getting any better. When you're not editing stuff, you're not getting any better. So I don't know. I harp on that a lot.
So let's talk about your film, because not only did you make a feature, but you're releasing it in a very non-traditional way. But let's talk about the film first. Like, what's it called, and give us the premise for it.
So the feature film's called Unsound, and I have not and this is like a super faux pas on me, but I have not dusted that log line off in my head for a while because I've just been doing everything else. But essentially, it's semi-autobiographical. It's about someone who's trying to break into the film industry when life happens. Life being his mother, who suffers from schizophrenia, just kind of encroaches in on that. So it is a huge part of basically how I came to be where I am and the challenges I've had to deal with outside of just, you know, hey, here's all the film, you're a YouTuber or whatever. It's like there's more to all. I mean, there's always more to it, you know. So I shot the film a month out of film school, spent 1.5 years writing it while I was in film school, because I was like everyone else, you know, it's like you need to have a script and all that in order to make it. And so anyways, I shot it out of film school, toured it on the film fest. We entered over 20 international film fests and won 8 awards, and had some distro offers, but the figures weren't right. And by that time, I was a lot further in YouTube, so it just didn't make sense for me to go with someone who couldn't push it as well as I could push it. And at the same time, I mean, that's kind of like the abridged version of where we are
Right.
with it
So
right now.
so you have a feature that had some success. On
It's
the festival
already
circuit.
been done for a while. I mean, we've already had the fest circuit run with it, but for a while beyond that run, I was thinking like, what's the best way to like release this thing? And asking my question, how much money am I trying to make off of it, or am I just trying to use this as like a branding flagship and something for the community? It's like, hey, here's something that people can really connect with. Like, what is my end game? And I think it took me a while to figure out what I really wanted, because part of it is like a paradigm shift for me. Because originally making this film, it's like the usual thing, oh yeah, make a great film, get into Sundance, yada yada, your career launches.
Yes, all those dreams that they say are possible.
Thing,
Which it is possible, but
it's different. There's
not
more
as
to
likely.
It. There's more to it. Yeah. So with this journey on YouTube, I learned about things I didn't even know about, and I kind of moved into this space that I wasn't even on my radar, and so that affected the original plan, right? Because now it's like, well, I thought I needed Sundance and I thought I needed all those, but now I don't really need them. And I thought I needed to get distribution, but now I don't really need that. I'm doing okay on YouTube. I can pay my bills.
Right.
I can pay the debt back. I can begin to chip away at all the credit cards I charged up for the movie. Mm-hmm. So what actually makes more sense at this point? And it's a drama film. It's really hard to.
Is it a matter of also getting exposures so that the maximum number of people see it? I mean, I think what's exciting about YouTube is you see like this number of people. Actually, when I see videos and I see videos all about a particular topic, I kind of tend to go with the one that has the most views. Think, well, if it's the most views,
it's been vetted already.
It's been vetted, and the most people must like it. Well, I found that that's not
always true.
Not always true with what is the best video in a particular category. But like in terms of this, I feel like. I feel like dramas are hard, man. Dramas are really hard to market. Like
that's another reason.
I kind of feel like genre movies are much easier. Like science fiction, fantasy, horror, much easier to market than dramas. So I got to know, like, what do you have, like a poster design, do you have a marketing hook that will get like
so.
Because knowing you have that challenge,
that
it's a drama, like what are you gonna?
So my main plan is this. I'm kind of following the model of another film that was released on YouTube called Algorithm, and I think they're at like 12 million views or something right now.
Wow.
But zero marketing dollars for that. Not a penny spent on ads. He just dropped it, and the community took it. It was like based on it's a hacker movie type thing. Community just took it. I don't think it's it's a cool movie. It's not the strongest movie. Mm-hmm. But it spoke to its audience. And like anything else online, when you really connect with an audience, it tends to set sail and take a life of its own. And that's exactly what happened with Algorithm. So, and he's not the only one. There's a few others as well. So my idea, or my, I guess, modality towards it is this. Like, I would rather release this film to the audience that I already have built. I'm going to promote it as much as I can. I'm going to do campaigning even after I release it. Like 30 days before I release it, I'm going to do a countdown on all my platforms so that everybody who follows me will know I'm releasing it when I am releasing it. And then after that, I'm probably going to do another campaign just reaching out to mental health, hospitals, just emailing like anyone who has anything to do with that industry saying, hey, here's a film. It's for free. It's about what we go through. It's a very personal, just like, here, this exists.
What do you think about also doing something like maybe after it's released, a couple weeks or months after, doing like some viewing party where you'll live post while you're watching it, so you're encouraging people to watch it, and then keep your social feed up so that you've maybe pre-written like 100 posts, although I don't know if you could do that, but I mean, like, or somewhere on some social media platform where you're able to you are commenting so the comments kind of coincide with the film. Like,
I've had ideas for doing that on Instagram,
or like
Instagram
a commentary,
Live.
Just release a commentary track. I know, just something where it's like people can experience the film with you and kind of watch it with you there after they've seen it the first time, so that the second viewing ends up becoming more of an educational experience.
Yeah, no, I have plans for that. I want to wrap like 5 videos around it. Where are they now? How we did it? What gear did we use? Like pretty much every facet I can talk about, I want to talk about. So it's not only just, hey, here's this movie. It's like, no, here's an experience. Here's a story. Here's a personal story. And beyond that, there's like a meta around that this is how it applies to you. You know, like if you're someone who wants to go and maybe you have a story of something that happened to you, or maybe you don't, maybe it's something completely fictional or whatever, but you can take what we've done, learn from that, mix it up, remix, do whatever you need to do. But I think we can never get enough templates out there of people just sharing the process of how they did what they did.
But I also think this is really smart, like especially after like Netflix did that thing with the Super Bowl where they, ran 2 ads that they spent $10 million on for Cloverfield. Whatever you thought of that movie, the Cloverfield Paradox, whatever you thought about the creative success of that movie, the way they released it, I thought was really fascinating.
It was brilliant.
It was brilliant. It made me watch it. I mean, I watched it. Anthony watched it that night and turned in a review. Like it was pretty amazing. So like, I think that, radical ways of releasing films is really compelling, especially because, and I've argued this before, like with some filmmakers, it's like you can get a deal where you release your movie on VOD and a limited theatrical, but I guarantee more people might see your movie if you released your movie as an app. Or if you released your movie on YouTube. I've suggested this to filmmakers before, where you can, that movie algorithm for, 12 million views? I mean, that's really impressive. So, I mean, the whole thing is it's like gaining an audience so that the next thing that you do becomes bigger. And I look at people like like Radiohead and Trent Reznor, who have had these sort of bizarre ways of releasing content. I mean, Louis C.K., whose career at some point it's going to make a comeback. Although we've discussed the I Love You, Daddy on a previous episode of the show. But what I'm saying is that content creators who build an audience and then cut out the middleman, the distributor, and go, I'm just going to market directly to that audience. Now, to be fair, Trent Reznor and Radiohead kind of had an audience built up already, so they could do that.
If the music's not good, though, here's the thing.
Well, that's true. I agree.
Here's the thing I absolutely learned with YouTube, right? It doesn't matter if you're in all the right places. Like I talked about a content strategy to get discovered, right? It doesn't matter if you're in all the right places and you have 100 videos and all the top trending, like if it doesn't matter if your content sucks. It doesn't matter.
Right.
There are lots of people out there who did exactly that. It's like they're everywhere. But you watch the video and it's just like, snooze fest. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to, is your stuff good? Like, are you ready? Are you putting your best foot forward? And are you making good, valuable content? Like some of these other phenoms, right? Like Peter McKinnon, he was growing like crazy before he even hit any of like the heavy trending like topics because he was just so shareable. People saw it and they were like, oh man, you got to see this guy. So the point though is like, and even with algorithm, it's like there was no cent spent on that, but he spoke directly to a community. Whether the movie was great or not is irrelevant. It's like he was reaching the people he needed to reach, and they took it and they championed it, and they shared it all over the flipping place. Walmart tried to buy it. Like he had people after it was released saying, hey, can you take it down? Let's do a deal, and let's put this on some shelves. And he ended up turning most of them down. He made his money back that he spent on it, but if you have something that speaks to an audience, it will reach that audience. If it's good, on YouTube, and that's the big thing about it. And also it makes you ask the hard questions about yourself too. Like if you're not growing as fast as you think you should be growing and all that, after you get a little experience under your belt and you see that it really doesn't matter. Like you can't say, oh well, this person's big because they knew this YouTuber or they knew that. It's like when you see how some people grow and how others don't, it really does come down to, are you giving the market what they want to see? Because there's no gatekeeper. There's no one like blocking your video and saying, oh, well, only half of America's going to see this unless you pay us $50. There's nothing. It's like you upload a video, people find it and they share it, or they don't, period.
But aren't there algorithms that prevent or push certain videos and prevent others from rising to the top? Or is that just based on?
That's based on viewing.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that bitch about that on YouTube. And all honesty, like I've looked at some of the videos that people are like, oh, it's the algorithm. It's, it's against me and they're only promoting bigger YouTubers. And then you look at their content and you're like, bro, like I was asleep 2 minutes in. Like you need to sharpen your own craft. Like there's a reason why your stuff is not being shared. I mean, why are there people who are in, BF middle of nowhere with no connections making videos blowing up all over the place? They're not connected to anything. They just have content and they're making something that the market wants to see, period.
So tell us, where can people find you on, well, YouTube and just all your social? Is it all the same thing? Is it's
D for Darius. Yep.
D number 4 Darius. Darius spelled DARIOUS. Exactly. So D for Darius. Just look up on Instagram, Twitter. Darius, I got to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was great, man. And then when does the film come out?
So I'm aiming to release it like late April or early March-ish. Okay. That's what I'm aiming right now. I'm still doing some of the tech stuff.
So the release date isn't.
Happen. It's not in concrete. It's not concrete, right. Like finalized.
You know what I would do as counter programming? I would release it on the same day as Avengers: Infinity War. You should just have the new Avengers movie, and your whole campaign should be built around, I'm releasing my movie the same day as Avengers: Infinity War, and just like go after them, and go after Chris Evans, and go after Robert Downey Jr. and the whole cast, and just say, dude, my movie's coming out the same day as your movie, and then make it this sort of anti-campaign. Is like, yeah, you can pay to see Marvel's Avengers: Infinity War, or you can see my film.
Chris, I love you, man.
I'm trying to come up with
I
just
love
like
you, man.
just a hook. It's like, to me, and people love like that kind of story. You know what I mean? That like they want to see someone like you succeed. I think that would be a fun thing. I mean, look, you can come up with a bunch of different things. I think that would be kind of funny to do it the same day and then drop it the same day.
I think honestly, you know, with where we've toured on sound and the response we've gotten, I'm really sure that when we release it, it will find its audience. And that, at the end of the day, is what I'm happy with. As long as it reaches its audience, I'm good. And I feel like they would champion it and share it, because there's so many movies dealing with what I went through that are not accurate. They're not accurate at all. And they just kind of skirt issues, and, you know, they use it just as a plot point for a secret for some guy running and getting a suitcase full of money. It's just like... Yeah. It's not really represented in the way that I know it to be true in so many others. So I feel like that's a huge reason why I even considered doing it for free. It's like, you know, that community really needs to see this. You know, I don't need to paywall something like this. I really don't. But whether I want to go to war with Avengers and all that, man, I don't know.
No, first of all, the movie is on sound. Yeah. It opens the same day as Avengers: Infinity War. It's going to be marketed through the D for Darius social channels, and I'm sure other outlets. You know what? Film Threat will help promote it when it comes out. We'll release this podcast right before your release date. We'll do what we can to help.
I got your back, but I wouldn't take Chris's advice. Those Marvel fanboys are vicious.
No, go up against them.
No.
Give the middle finger to Marvel. No, that's it. Middle finger to Marvel. I'm releasing my movie the same day as you.
They don't have a sense of humor.
Tweet to James Gunn. Tweet to Kevin Feige. They will love that. They will love it.
They'll like that. The Marvel fanboys, no.
They'll think it's funny. I think they'll think it's
cool. They will,
yeah.
I mean, as long as it's in good spirits, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be making enemies with nobody.
No. Right.
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. No, exactly. But I'm just saying that, like, that's a fun look. It's going to make me remember, because I know when Avengers: Infinity War happens, but I don't know that I would remember when Unsound is going to be released. But that would help me remember. I know that sounds stupid, and you could do like a whole thing of like you could do a whole video where you've got like the Marvel Infinity War, and like you could, and also from a YouTube standpoint on YouTube, you could be doing all these videos of like, my movie comes out the same day as Avengers: Infinity War, because fanboys are looking up Infinity War, right? Because they want to see videos about it. So, and as dumb as it sounds, you gave the advice.
I see the hook.
You gave the advice earlier that what are they searching for, right? Well, where are they going to be searching for when that movie gets released? All videos related to it, they're going to happen upon your video. Look, you can shift the campaign to something more serious about mental illness and you know, your personal story.
There's going to be different arms to it. But I see what you're going.
As dumb as that is, do it. It's something people would talk about. Look, Try it.
Yeah, I see what you're doing, Chris.
See, yes,
I see it in your eyes right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I see the eye of the tiger. Like, I wish everybody could see what I'm looking at.
I want to see you succeed. I'm serious. I want to see this movie get play. I want people to discover it. I think that the way you're going about it is just is radical. It's a different way of going about it. I also think that it's smart in the sense that so many filmmakers hold out for the magical deal that they're never going to get. And it's like, you're just going to, you know what, you're moving on to the next thing. I'm releasing my movie for free on YouTube on the same day as Marvel's Avengers Infinity War, which I think is a brilliant marketing strategy. And, you know, and we'll be there to support
When
you.
does that movie come out again, though?
May 6th. So May 6th. You could release it May 5th, the day before.
And that's also Mental Health Awareness Month.
Right. So there you go, May.
Hey, there you go.
May, there you go.
Yeah.
And you could queue up a bunch of videos about a Infinity War and that you're releasing your film the same day. And I know I feel like if you go about it in a humble way and you go about
that's
like,
the thing. It's like, you know what I mean? You
Tone
don't want
is
to come off
important.
like...
Tone is important. You're not serious. You're not seriously like, I'm going against these
going
guys.
to war.
Chris Evans. But Chris Evans, Chris Evans, I know you've got this big movie coming out, but you know, if you care about mental illness, if your life has been touched in some way by a friend, a family member, someone who suffered that, I'm releasing my movie the same day as your movie. Maybe you'll check my movie out. I feel like if you said it exactly like that, Chris Evans might give you a retweet. You know, he might say, I'll check out your movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's like, I feel like that's
a realm I haven't messed with. I've
saying-
seen people do it.
Yeah,
but
I'm saying,
that's a
why
realm
don't you
I-
do it?
With that said,
Don't listen to Anthony.
No.
Whatever he's going to say, don't listen to
If
him.
you go the aggressive route like Chris wants you to, just keep in mind, I interned at a comic book company a few years ago. I've heard some of the horror stories with death threats that fans get really super duper rowdy.
Even better, do a video
Yeah.
about the
Oh,
death
yeah, I
threats.
could do a
like,
whole video talking
like you
about
could
that.
just. I feel like outing those people is the best way. Like outing and shaming. Although we live in a culture now where who feels shame and you know.
I'm just
people don't-
saying, prepare for that because there are a lot of idiots out there that don't see humor in that kind of stuff.
The only thing that would stop me from doing it is oftentimes the package colors the content inside, you know? So it's like I'm releasing this film that's very honest to what I have.
Very personal,
very
yeah.
personal, but if the execution of the delivery is perceived as like, oh, this is super gimmicky, super, you know, that could color
And even antagonistic.
exactly, that could kind of color the in how people before they even get
Pick
to
a
the
different
movie.
I feel like
movie,
I'm
you know?
the angel on your shoulder and Chris is the devil.
Chris is
We're
definitely-
dev- yeah,
Chris
I'm
is
the
definitely
devil.
the devil right now.
Yeah. He's
Whispering in your ear,
He's
"Don't
got
do it,
the
man. Don't
harp.
do it."
He's got the harp
Yeah.
with the little thing on his head, and I'm the devil. Yeah, but I feel. Look.
That's a good idea, though.
I just think maybe it's not that
I'm
movie.
not saying it's a
That's
bad
good
idea.
Maybe it's not that movie. Maybe it's a different movie. The next Steven Spielberg movie. And you go, Steven, I know, you know, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a way to do it.
Next Transformers
tone-wise.
movie.
The next Oh my God, no, forget those movies. But no, I just think there's a way to do it that like people, because first of all, you are talking about a movie that is really hard to market.
Oh, yeah.
A drama that you're releasing, a drama that addresses a very serious issue about mental illness. It's also a personal story, and you're releasing it on YouTube for free. I mean, it's, you know,
I think
there's no nudity in it, I would assume, unless, I mean,
I do get naked in there.
you
quite
do.
a bit,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
then there you go. So partial
just
male nudity.
Totally kidding.
Partial male nudity. But, you know,
Ladies
so
and gentlemen,
I just
get
think
the
that you
pause
have-
button ready.
It is hard to market. I will agree.
You have to think like that. You have to be radical. You have to come up with some way to battle these mega corporations in terms of getting attention for your work. And I feel like just the balls for having done that, I think people will respect it. And I apologize in advance for these moronic, entitled fanboys that throw out their idiotic opinions, and they can't be accepting of other types of work out there. I mean, I personally love the Marvel movies, but I feel like if I only existed on Marvel and Star Wars films and Pixar, I would be a moron. I feel like part of your complete breakfast is watching indie films and foreign films and films from Hong Kong, and you know, looking through you know, film history, movies that you didn't see that are considered important films, and underground and indie movies made by emerging and up and coming filmmakers. That's why Film Threat was created, to say this is part of your complete breakfast. If you only see mainstream movies, you aren't seeing everything. You need to open your mind to a larger view of what's out there. So I thank you for coming on the show and talking with us about it and allowing me to give a rant at the end of the show.
No, I mean, I appreciate the rant.
Okay, good.
I totally agree with the message behind it.
We got your back, and we're gonna go. I guess we're gonna go bowling. So let's get out of here.